Fred Astaire is just amazing to watch. It was just captivating. So I feel like it makes for most of the movie, really. And Astaire's sense for rhythm, I personally was dazzled by it.
What's up, everybody? I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna, and welcome to our review of the 1934 movie The Gay Divorcee. For those of you who are new here, hi, hello, welcome. Please subscribe to this channel, which is dedicated to Rick and my bucket list of 101 goals and dreams that we hope to accomplish in our lifetime. And one of those goals is to watch all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards from 1927 until 2028. That is 101 years of Best Picture Academy Award nominees and their respective winners.
Yes, indeed.
We are now at 1934, which is the 7th Academy Award. To this day, we have already completed 7 years of the Academy Awards, including 2019. So this is the 8th year for us, or the 7th Academy Award year. And we have watched and reviewed 48 movies and discussed one lost movie.
Yes, still
The
lost.
Patriot. Yeah. The review, as always, will be split in two main parts. The first part will be a spoiler-free discussion in which we will both give our top-level appreciation of the movie and some commentary without spoiling any part of the movie. And the second part will be a spoiler-filled discussion in which we will discuss more in detail certain elements, certain scenes from the movie. Do not worry though, if you don't want to get spoiled but are still interested in watching the review, we will warn you before we get to the spoiler part, so you can watch without problems. And
No worry.
Right, and when we get to the spoiler part, you can either leave the video or, even better, you can go to the timestamp in the description box below that will take you directly to the end of the video, which is the ranking section. So every year we are ranking the movies that were nominated for that year. This will be the ranking of the 1934 nominees.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this one will end up being and the ranking. I wonder what.
I am too. It will
what
be
you're
an interesting
thinking.
one.
Yeah.
But before all of that, we start with my favorite part, which is the trivia section.
Hit me with that info, Anna.
The 1934 The Gay Divorcee is an RKO radio picture musical film. It came out in November 28, 1934. It is based on a Broadway musical
Not surprised.
called Gay Divorcee. So without the in the beginning.
It's like the Facebook.
Right, very big difference there. Which was written by Dwight Taylor. The movie was directed by Mark Sandrich, and it stars Fred Astaire as Guy Holton. And I think there's a lot of things to be said about this actor, about Fred Astaire. Interesting information about him here. So, first of all, Fred Astaire also starred in the Broadway musical.
The same one?
The
Gay
same,
Divorcee?
yes. So
Gay Divorcee.
Gay Divorcee, right. So he was also the lead actor in the Broadway musical, and then he was brought into the film musical. He is widely considered the most influential dancer in the history of film.
Oh.
Of all time. The American Film Institute named Fred Astaire the 5th greatest male star of classic Hollywood cinema in 100 Years, 100 Stars. So, you know, at the end of the century, they did that top 25 male stars and 25 female stars. Fred Astaire is number 5 on that list. So that's something to be said about it. And Gene Kelly, another star in filmed dance, said about him that the history of dance on film begins with Fred Astaire.
Fred Astaire? Huh.
Those are really big
Praise, yeah.
yeah, to be said about him. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting to mention it here. So going on with the stars of this movie, it also stars Ginger Rogers as Mimi, whom we have seen before in 42nd Street.
Rogers and Astaire are paired up a lot, no?
Yes, so actually Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers played in 10 films together. So they were for a while their famous movie couple. Movie also stars Alice Brady as Aunt Hortense, Edward Everett Horton as Egbert Pinky Fitzgerald, whom we've also seen in the front page. It also stars Eric Rhodes as Rodolfo Tonetti and Eric Blore as the waiter.
The waiter is an essential character.
It is actually. Movie was a great success. It was nominated for a total of 5 Academy Awards. First one, of course, Outstanding Production or Best Picture, which is why we have watched it and are reviewing it right now. It was also nominated for Art Direction for Van Nest Polglaze and Carol Clark, nominated for Music or Scoring for Max Steiner, Sound Recording for Carl Dreher, and Music or Song for the song The Continental, which it won. Also interesting fact about it, this Academy Award category for Music or Song is the first year when it is being awarded. Just one interesting information about the movie that I could find that I thought would relate to some discussion that we had while we were watching the movie actually. James Wingate, who was at the time the director of the Studio Relation Office for RKO, warned that considering the delicate nature of the subject upon which the script is based, great care should be taken in the scenes dealing with Mimi's lingerie. And no intimate article should be used. Wingate also insisted that no actor or actress should appear in only their pajamas.
Because 1934, the code is in full effect. And we even see at the beginning of this movie, you know, they have the thing, this was
that
approved
says that
by
it
the
was
code.
Approved by the code. Yes, exactly. So yeah, apparently it had a big impact on the look of the movie. I wonder what kind of pajamas we would have seen.
Yeah, this code is going to be a thorn in movie makers for the next like 20 years.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna talk about this some more in the years to come.
Yeah.
That is about all that I had for the information about the movie, so let's move on to our spoiler-free discussion, shall we? So let's start this by asking the ever-present question of this section at the beginning of it. Rick, what did you think of this movie without spoiling anything?
Yes, without spoiling it, I really like this movie. No, it was really fun. Again, it is no surprise probably to you or to some people watching by now, but musical, I like musical, you know, they kind of have a foot in the door, a little advantage.
Just because it's a musical?
Because it's fun, you know, it's just fun. And a movie's first purpose often is to entertain.
Right.
And musical are almost always at least entertaining.
Right.
If not like good in other aspect, you know. Because there are musical with horrible stories or musical with shady acting but good songs. Again, a musical also lives or dies by the songs, so if the songs are bad, then...
And I actually thought that the songs in this one were really good.
Yeah, no.
I really enjoyed them.
Fred Astaire, they got a lot of praise for dancing, but his singing is not too bad too, not too shabby.
Right, I thought so too. Yeah. And one interesting thing that I wanted to mention related to the musical part of this movie is that compared to some other musicals that we've seen before, in this particular movie, you don't see that situation when the actors just like stop acting and then they look at the camera and then they sing.
A lot of the Maurice Chevalier movies where you're just
like this,
staring at the camera and singing a song.
But in this one, they really ease into the music. They continue acting and they continue like being like their characters while they perform.
It's much more like a musical, like we would see today. You know, it's integrated into the story.
Exactly.
Maurice Chevalier, a lot of time in his movies, it seems like okay, we do that scene and now we stop to look at the camera and sing a song, and then we do another scene. You know,
right?
Here, like Astaire is just walking around talking and then singing.
Right, and then he starts singing.
Yeah.
What did you think? Because we said that we enjoyed it and it was entertaining mostly because of the musical part and the songs, but what do you think about the story?
The story was, I mean, it wasn't the most extravagant or complicated things or deep thing, but it was not the point, you know, that's not what they were trying to do.
Right, but
they were trying to make an entertaining and fun movie, and it was fun.
But I think this is a comedy, so it's not meant to be like heavy or, you know,
not at all. And as a comedy, it works. You know, sometimes you would think that a movie that is that old, you know, the jokes don't always land because you know, maybe that was funny in 1934, but now in 2020 not so much. But no,
it's not the case for this one. I thought that it worked really well, and I thought that even more so than the comedy in the acting or in the script, there was the comedy of the situation. The characters were put in these comical situations that felt very natural while still being comic.
Yeah.
which I thought worked really well. Like, it didn't feel forced, it didn't feel artificial, it didn't feel like, oh, we're doing this just to like give the punchline, the line of a joke, you know? Like, no, it was a natural like evolution of events.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like also a good thing is that all the characters bring their own brand of comedy to the whole thing. You know,
Yeah.
we have an ensemble of different funny or eccentric characters here, and they're all unique, and they all bring something different that, you know, when paired up, it's always interesting. Oh,
Yes.
that character with that other character, what would be their dynamic? And then hilarity ensues.
Moving on, what did you think of the performances of the actors?
Yeah, so like we said, I think most of them nailed it in terms of like musical performances, dance performances, acting. They were supposed to be funny, and they were funny most of the time. So yeah, I don't think.
I think I really felt the chemistry of the two main characters. I thought they worked really well together, and it makes sense why they were paired for, you know, a lot more movies. And I think an important part of a musical is obviously the sound, but the look and sound of the movie. What did you think of that?
I think it sounded great. Like I don't think there was any issue with the sound quality, and you know the transition between the singing parts and the talking part. Everything was well mixed. The audio mix. You didn't see like a spike in audio level when they started singing. I think it was all in all very good.
Yeah, very well done.
Even there's some scenes, you know, a lot of the action of the movie happens in London, and some scenes where we see Astaire outside exploring the city. I thought those were well made too, to give the impression that he's been to different places.
Yeah, I thought so too. It looked really, really good. And I think that both the look of the movie and the music that was used, the songs, were very like new compared to what we've seen so far. Yeah. It feels you know, new and modern and different. And Astaire's sense for rhythm and also his voice and his singing, I feel they're quite different from what we've heard in other movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was like a strong point of the movie. So to end this section,
yes,
we have to ask ourselves and tell our audience, would we recommend this movie?
I mean, I think it's obvious. I would recommend this movie. Go watch it, have some fun, dance, tip it up.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie too. It is very entertaining. It's very fun to watch. So yeah, you have both of our recommendations for this movie. And now it is time for us to move on to the spoiler-filled section. So don't forget, if you don't want to get spoiled, you can click on the timestamp in the description box below. That will take you to the ranking part of this video. And if you've already watched this movie or you don't mind getting spoiled, then let's move on. I will start this spoiler-filled section with a short synopsis of the movie. An American woman travels to England to seek a divorce from her absentee husband, where she meets and falls for a dashing performer. This is the, base story of the movie. This is basically all that it is about.
Yeah.
It's a woman trying to get a divorce.
While being pursued by this very insistent Fred Astaire, yeah.
Right. So I thought we would start this conversation actually talking a little bit about the scenes that we saw in the hotel, the Continental.
Are you talking about the music piece specifically?
The music piece too, yes, but also the look of those scenes. They were really impressive to me. Mm-hmm. So I thought it would be an interesting point to start. I thought that was the part of the movie that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? Especially the music piece when they were panning out, as everybody was dancing and singing and showing you the different floors of the hotel. I was reminded of the Grand Hotel.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The movie, like with that sense of like this huge place with several floors that people come in and out of, like it's a fancy hotel.
Right.
I thought that was interesting. And yeah, no, definitely it's the centerpiece of the movie. It's the the one scene where you feel like, oh, they put everything into this.
Yeah, definitely, and it's also actually the song that won
The Academy Award.
an Academy Award, exactly. So you can definitely tell that they, put all their efforts there, and it paid off. Like you can definitely see it.
Yeah, I was surprised that they did the whole songs, because the other songs throughout the movie, they're just like short, like conversation as song, like as you do in a musical.
Right.
But here it's just a whole song, like it keeps going.
Yeah, it's a pretty long scene, and the performance is also impressive. Like the number of people involved, it's.
I wonder how many times they had to film that from how many different angles.
Right, it makes you wonder how did they do that back then, having all the different angles and like even from above.
Yeah,
it couldn't have been easy.
But no, that's definitely an important scene. But you mentioned the hotel in general, not only that scene. I thought that like it's probably a set, it's a set somewhere in California probably. But you still kind of felt like they were in a hotel by the sea.
So tell me, Rick, are there any scenes that you thought were particularly interesting or that you thought we should discuss about?
I gotta be frank with you. So last time we discussed the previous movie in which we said like it was forgettable, and right now I'm blanking on the name.
Flirtation Walk.
Yeah, Flirtation Walk. Okay, so forgettable, I forgot the name. And we didn't have much to say because it was so forgettable. This is not a forgettable movie by any stretch of the imagination. Like I'm thinking about it right now and I can vividly see a lot of scenes. And yet, like, nothing jumps to me as, like, we should pinpoint that.
I think that's because, story-wise, it's quite simple.
Yeah.
It's more interesting to watch it to see how they reenacted certain situations rather than for the story itself, which is pretty basic.
Yeah, rather to try to, as we usually do in this section, take a scene and, like, dig to, like, what's the meaning of this.
But I thought maybe we could... expand a little bit more on those like comical situations that they managed to create by those kind of conversations when two people are talking and someone is talking about something, the other one is talking about something else, but
misunderstanding kind of a comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, a lot of time misunderstanding comedy annoys me.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm always thinking like just talk to each other, stop this, and it's usually funny until a certain point,
Yeah.
Until a certain point where you're like, no, like realistically speaking, anyone would have just asked a question right now and cleared this thing up. And I feel like here they do a good job to not pass that line.
They even do that. Like I feel like when they realize that they don't understand each other, someone asks the question.
Yeah,
like,
they're like, wait a minute, what job do you think I'm doing?
Exactly.
And so clear up the air right away before it begins to get too old. And I feel like a lot of time these type of jokes get old.
I think like a joke like this only works if it is really well thought. You have to be clever when you make a joke like this, because it can like go really bad, or be like unbelievably stupid sometimes. Yeah. But if it's clever and done in a smart way, then it works. It works really well.
No.
So
it's funny also to see Fred Astaire's character like just being insistent with his pursuit of the girl, and Roger is always for most of the movie being so not into it. Like leave me alone. I'm not gonna call you. I'm not gonna visit your place to give you back your coat. Just stop this. And like it's just funny, they're banter at first until she starts warming up to him, but then they still have like you said, a great chemistry throughout the movie. That was great. And his friend, Astaire's friend,
the lawyer.
Yeah, the lawyer. I also thought it was really funny.
Fitzgerald, was it?
Yeah, I also thought he was a really interesting character. Whatever other character you would put him with, he would have some kind of funny dialogue, like back and forth. Like you put him with the waiter and then they have that like insipid conversation about like, what are you gonna order? And they're like, oh, maybe you want this or that. And really on paper, it's the simplest, dumbest thing, but I was watching it and I was cracking up. So it works,
Yeah, the jokes are really smart. The like comical situations are really like well done, well thought, and the performances are really impressive. Really, not only like dance and music, but also acting wise. The waiter was a very interesting character because you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
But I thought it's very interesting how they put this character there, who for most of the movie is just kind of like annoying, but in a funny way. And then at the end, he has this like key role.
Yeah.
Of identifying who the actual cheater is.
And when he was talking about his friend, the geologist, I kind of figured it out.
Yeah, you can kind of tell.
It was still funny. Yeah.
Well, that is it for this session, I think. Is there anything else that you would like to make mention of?
No, great movie. Go watch it.
Yeah, definitely go watch it. And now it is time for us to move on to the ranking part of this video. So, as of now, the ranking of 1934 is at number 3, Flirtation Walk, at number 2, Cleopatra, and at number 1, The Barretts of Wimpole Street. Where does The Gay Divorcee stand on this list? And I think last time I asked you, so this time I should say it.
Okay, what are you gonna say? I'm curious.
So I have to say it's a difficult one. I would probably put it at number 1.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think?
There's such different movies, I've been thinking about this since I watched it. And I was hesitating, obviously, between number 1 and number 2. And the two movies are uncomparable. They're so, like, it's apple and oranges.
Right.
And so you have to, like, somehow figure out some kind of logic that puts one above the other. I don't know, like, this one entertained me more, but I feel like its point was to entertain, as a musical and a comedy. And the other one interested me more because the story was just deeper and the characters were deeper. Wow, that's a hard one.
It is, right? Well, if you're not completely sure, I could tell you the reason why I put it at number 1.
Yeah.
Because I was dealing with the same problem. I was thinking The Barretts of Wimpole Street has a more complex story, much like deeper characters, much more layered characters. Whereas this one, I thought that its performance-wise is great, entertainment-wise is better than The Barretts of Wimpole Street. But then how do you compare the two? And at the end of it, to me, it just came to the fact that I feel like this movie just holds more value.
You think?
I think so. Just like when you think of, the history of cinematography, The Barretts of Wimpole Street is a great story, but it's nothing groundbreaking in terms of a movie. Whereas this one, well, it's not exactly groundbreaking, but I feel like it brings something very new and different. Musical-wise, it's the first time we watch a musical done in this way, in which the musical parts are well integrated into the movie. Then again, and maybe this is a bit of an unfair advantage that this movie has, but Fred Astaire is just amazing to watch, to me. It's the first time I'm watching a movie of his, like, through and through. Like I said, I've seen a lot of scenes of him performing in musicals or just on stage before, but I've never watched a whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was just captivating. So I feel like it makes for most of the movie, really.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to disagree with you here.
Tell me why.
Yeah. Like, okay, to the point of it being groundbreaking and such, I feel like this is always difficult, but I try as best as possible when we do these rankings to remove myself, and that's impossible because we are all human beings. We go in with our own biases. I'm trying to see each movie as a movie against the other movies rather than in the history of movies, because that's unfair, Like, they're not aware of their own history or whatever that might mean.
Mm-hmm.
And even the history of movies and what was important differs depending on who you're talking to.
Right.
So, like, influences is something so intangible and also out of their hands that I can't really, like, pick that as an element to choose. And so then I'm only left with that conversation or that debate that I was having earlier, fun versus interesting, or deeper characters versus entertaining a movie and songs. And then I just shut it all, and just thought, the first thought that come to my mind if I'm asking that question, like, which movie should be number 1? And actually, I think it's the Barretts of Wimpole Street.
You think?
I think it's the Barretts of Wimpole Street. And really, like, I don't have a leg to stand on here because you brought your own arguments. I'm saying this just comes from like first thought, like
Right.
and so
Well, this is a difficult one because if I just ask myself that same question, I still think that I like this movie better.
yeah,
So, what should we
yeah.
do?
But again, like I said, you brought your own arguments, and I'm saying I wouldn't use those arguments myself, but you're using them, and that's in your prerogative. So I'm gonna concede to you because I don't have any argument. I'm just saying my gut feeling is telling me Pirates of Wimpole Street. But yeah,
So you agree to put it at
I'm
number
gonna
one?
concede at number one.
Okay. I'm really happy, I have to admit.
Yeah.
I really like this movie, so...
No, it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, we have agreed to disagree and came to my conclusion.
Yeah.
The ranking of 1934 Best Picture nominated movies as of now is at number 4, Flirtation Walk, at number 3, Cleopatra, number 2, The Pirates of Wimpole Street, and at number 1, The Gay Divorcee. So that was it for our review of The Gay Divorcee of 1934. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing to this channel if you enjoyed our review. Don't forget that this channel is not only about watching or reviewing movies, it is a bucket list channel in which we try to accomplish the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. And there are so many different ones that include not only entertainment related goals, but also traveling, self-growth, learning new things. And we make videos about all of those and we put them on this channel. So I encourage you to go and check it out. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video if you liked it. Comment in the comment section below, what did you think of Fred Astaire's performance in this movie? I personally was dazzled by it.
Yeah, it was great.
Once again, thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.
Isn't it peaceful here?
Would you mind moving your car, or don't you want it anymore?
Yes, Guy, it is peaceful, isn't it?
What a shame, two perfectly beautiful cars, and in a moment the air will be full of fenders.
Wait, would you mind hitting it just about there? That cigarette lighter never did work anyway.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.